Rock and Metal Elitist, this video is for you, so follow the advice of The Rock.
And I quote, you know your damn role and shut your damn mouth.
Because you guys are stifling the growth of rock and metal once again. Hey everyone, Kevin here from MSOTD Rocks and the Chord Progression Podcast, and following last week's announcement from the band BabyMetal, I felt like, yeah, with the reaction from it, this video is kind of necessary to be made. This is because there are a small group of people out there that are rock and metal elitists that don't understand that their actions both online and in person are contributing to rock and metal's growth, continue to be stifled with a lot of new bands and a lot of new fans coming in, to where those new fans are going to end up going to other genres like hip hop and rap, pop, and even country, especially here in America, and prevent rock and metal from coming back and being those top tier genres in pop culture today like they were back in the 1970s and 1980s. So, calling them out, that's what I'm here to do. But before we get started, please remember to follow and subscribe to everything we have on social media with MSOTD Rocks from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We have many different things to grow your musical horizons on there, connect with you, ask you different questions. We have different IGT videos every single Tuesday night that takes a behind the scenes look at what's happening here. Every single Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central, we go live on our Instagram page, just talk, shoot the shit, whatever might happen. Please don't remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel because you get these videos, our album reviews, our Kevin Figures Out videos, I try to figure out if I like certain bands in the scene that I'm not that well versed in or not, the end of the year list, and of course, the Chord Progression Podcast, which you can watch those episodes right here, or you can stream those episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeart Radio. Those are in-depth looks at the bands that are growing, emerging, some of the heavy hitters in the rock and metal scene today, going deep into some of their new music, some of their thoughts, some of their styles, and really you're never going to get anything like it anywhere else. So please give it a shot. Remember, subscribe, follow, like, share. Links are description below for everything, and I do want to thank our sponsor, Phoenix Fitness, because live shows are back. I'm getting the mosh pits, I'm going nuts, but I want to make sure that I don't tap out halfway through or go to these music festivals and tap out after a day or two. So I'm constantly in the gym, working out, getting my fitness ready, hitting these certain goals, but I got to make sure I recover right, get going right, and make sure that I am as best as possible. That's where Phoenix Fitness comes in with different multivitamins, different proteins, AM, PM, and after workout proteins, different BCAA recovery supplements, different pre-workouts, both sim and sim-free, different creatines, different anything you need when it comes to the supplement game to help you achieve your fitness goals. Link description below for the Phoenix Fitness website where you get 15% off your entire order using the code MSOTD at checkout. So go check it out. Now on to the video. So taking a look at the background of this video and why BabyMetal really kind of sparked this whole entire thing, on August 3rd, 2021, BabyMetal put out a tweet that after their 10th and final live stream event, which happened on October 10th, 2021, the band would be disappearing for some time and would not reemerge until it was time for them to come back. However, there was a lot of speculation as to what this meant. Could this be something similar to what Chord did a couple years ago? Could they be working on a new album? Could they be doing a rebranding of their image? Could the girl just be taking a break? Could one of the girls get married? Could one of them gotten pregnant? Could this be the end of the band? There was a lot of speculation going on, but this is not a video about the decision that BabyMetal has made, the announcement they made. This is a video regarding the social response, specifically the online response that we saw from a lot of fans, BabyMetal fans, and a lot of these metal elitists that seem to be just super duper happy and super duper glorified that this was happening. So when the announcement was made, taking a look at some more rock and metal publications that announce this stuff as well, seeing their comment section, specifically Loudwire and Kerrang, they really brought up a lot of different things. When I looked at Loudwire's Instagram, there were a lot of comments saying, you know, thank God this is happening. We don't like BabyMetal. This is good. Okay, this is news anyway. And then just people happy that they were going to be leaving. And it was a lot of people that just didn't like the band. Now there were a lot of BabyMetal fans that were feverishly defending the band in those comments, with a lot of back and forth exchange between metalists who didn't like BabyMetal and the BabyMetal fandom, which I will get into later in the video. But you'll see why a lot of this heaviness and a lot of this anger really kind of stifles the growth of rock and metal. Twitter kind of bore the same fruit that Instagram did for Loudwire when they announced this, with a lot of kind of more sarcasm, a lot of thankfulness that this was happening, not really much defending going on there. Facebook was more of a half and half thing where people were supporting the decision, people were talking about how they just hope everything was all right, and then we also got a lot of sarcastic things like, oh, this is horrible, ugh, and just other things around that realm in terms of, oh, thankfully they're gone, thankfully this is happening. Kerrang was not necessarily as vocal as the Loudwire comment section on all their platforms, but Kerrang really did show a lot of the same things that we saw here, where the rock and metal elitists were very much happy that BabyMetal was going away for a specific period of time that is unspecified at the moment, and the BabyMetal fans were furiously defending it with kind of the same vigor and the same kind of mindset. So why is this a problem? Because with rock and metal elitists being so vocal and being so out there about their thankfulness that a band is potentially taking a break, potentially gone forever, and having a big thing of thank God they're never coming back, this just puts a huge strife on the growth of rock and metal. Now, for me, I'm not that big of a BabyMetal fan. I did a video trying to figure out if I like BabyMetal or not earlier, and when it comes to their music, they do have that J-pop plus metal influence in there, and it all depends upon the mix. When they go more metal than J-pop, I tend to like those songs a lot more. When they go more J-pop than metal, I tend to like those songs a lot less because I like the metal side a bit more, but I do like the experimentation and how everything works. When it comes to the group of fans though, just because of how feverish they kind of really latch onto the group, it's hard for me to get into that unless I'm really in that mindset. It kind of has a little bit of an unwelcoming feel, so I will get into that a little bit more. However, when I watch their live videos, I really want to see the band perform live. The energy looks insane, the crowd looks absolutely incredible, and this seems like something that I'm just drawn to. So, I mean, I'm wearing a BabyMetal shirt for this. I bought this, so you can't tell. I do kind of have support for the band in some capacity. But here's where the problem lies. It's because rock and metal elitists are so vocal against these bands or doing something completely different that it stifles the growth of rock and metal going forward, and it stifles the growth of a younger generation, a next generation of not only kids but also musicians as well, from getting into the genre and trying to shy a little bit more towards pop, hip-hop, rap, country, whatever it might be. I'll bring up a couple examples to really show this because I think this really does stand on its own then. Starting out with BabyMetal, for instance, like I said, they had this J-pop plus metal infusion, and a lot of Japanese culture is really brought into that through their costumes, through their look, through everything that they do. And taking a look at America, Japanese culture is definitely starting to have a lot more of a significance with the younger generation, especially with the explosion and popularity of anime with people not only my age, but also kids younger than myself as well. Remember, I'm 26, so kids younger than myself are really starting to get into that. And when they see a band that incorporates that J-pop sound in there and that Japanese culture, they might be drawn more towards it. And with the metal aspect behind it as well, they might be opening the door to other metal bands. But you have the metal elite saying that this sucks, this is horrible, this is all just gimmick, this is all just a ploy. Why is this a major problem? And a major problem is because you have this younger group of fans that are coming into the genre that you absolutely, and they be coming from this avenue due to that influence on Japanese culture that has the younger generation really kind of getting into. Again, anime is a big thing. So if you're gonna end up stifling that, end up having this thing where you can't like metal because you like BabyMetal, you can't be a metal fan, you have to like Metallica or Chord or Slayer. We all know these kids are gonna do. They're not gonna take you respectfully at all, and they're gonna shy away from anything you want them to check out. If you want to check out Metallica, that's great, but if you're gonna go against what they're liking, they're gonna end up going more into that J-pop realm and K-pop realm, because I know there's a difference there, but they're still kind of interconnected in a way. And then all of a sudden, they're gonna be liking BTS. That's not a bad thing or a thing that's gonna knock them. But this is the thing more against knocking metal fans for closing this gate just because something is different and you don't like it. The other problem with that comes in where, take a look at some of the Japanese metalcore bands that we're seeing, Cold Rain, Slam for the Wind, and specifically Crystal Lake. If all of a sudden we're so against BabyMetal being that probably most prominent Japanese metal band within pop culture today, within rock and metal culture, we're gonna end up stunting the growth of these other bands coming into the scene. It's a huge problem. MGK or Machine Gun Kelly is also a good example of this as well. Being more focused on hip hop and rap earlier in his career, which a lot more people know him for, especially the younger generation. But then when Tickets to My Downfall came out in 2020, which is his pop punk album, heavily influenced by Travis Barker. I mean, you take a look at the writing credits, I think Travis Barker didn't write one of those songs with him. But you take a look at it and kids are getting into pop punk. The popularity of the album, especially on platforms that younger people are on TikTok, is incredible. So many people are getting into this, and so many people know MGK from his hip hop and rap styles. So now they're being brought into this pop punk realm with Travis Barker as well. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on here. But the rock elitists, oh no, this is a bad thing. But why? So why are the elitists against MGK? Why is this a bad thing? And it really is because the younger generation is finally latching on to something that we liked, especially my age. I grew up during the pop punk times, the emo times, and you know what? We don't want to have emo night or sad boy Saturday basically become our generation's 80s night. We want more kids to get into it so we can keep going on this realm and keep having this be a great thing. So instead of being so focused on what 2005 was like, MGK's here in 2020 trying to rekindle some of this stuff. Let's let it happen, because all of a sudden these kids that like MGK are going to check out All Time Low, they're going to check out Blink-182, they might check out some Fall Out Boy stuff. But I know a lot of the modern stuff isn't for people that are in that genre right now that we really like back in the day, but they'll be able to check out the older stuff. And then the more accepting that they'll be able to start jumping into some more hard rock stuff, some more metal stuff, some more metalcore stuff, some more punk rock, whatever it might be. Why would we stifle this? There's also a major problem with a lot of rock and metal festivals that are happening, especially here in the US. And it's because you take a look at a lot of the festival lineups, thankfully they're back though, but you take a look at a lot of them, and the Danny Wimmer Presents festivals really do show a lot of this. And you take a look at the headliners and the co-headliners, and they're all rock and metal bands that have been prominent for 20, 25 plus years or more. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing, and I'll get to why that's not a bad thing, but where this comes to problem is the rock and metal elites are essentially gatekeeping a lot of these younger bands that could become those legacy bands, or could become those legacy bands, from really getting on the top bill and really getting this younger, more vibrant generation into the music to see all of this stuff on a grander stage. Take a look at the Danny Wimmer Presents Festivals, headliners and co-headliners for 2021. Incarceration is a little bit different, where Slipknot and Mastodon are on the first day, Mudvayne and A Day to Remember are on the second day, and then Rob Zombie and Hailstorm are on the third day. That's a little bit different, but the other ones are where the problem comes in. Louder Than Life has Chord and Staind, both were more prominent in the 90s and early 2000s. Metallica twice with Jane's Addiction and Judas Priest, who were more prominent before the 2000s ever started. Nine Inch Nails and Snoop Dogg, again prominent in the 1990s. Aftershock has Metallica twice with Rancid and Social Distortion. Again, not anything where their most popular times were before or after the year 2000. And then the Misfits with The Offspring. Now that Misfits one should have been for My Chemical Romance, but that is a different issue in itself. Welcome to Rockville, 9 Inch Nails with Deftones in support from Deftones, a little more popular in the 2000s, but 9 Inch Nails again, more 1990s. Metallica with Skynyrd and then Zombie as well. Rob Zombie, I should say. That is another issue itself, because again, before 2000, that's when they were the most prominent. And then Disturbed with The Offspring opening. Disturbed, a little bit more that younger legacy band like Slipknot, but still The Offspring, again, most prominent in the 1990s. Where I see the major problem with this is because the rock and metal elites are gatekeeping so that these bigger, larger bands are going to be the ones that are going to be on the tops of these bills. And we're not going to let these younger bands that are becoming those legacy bands for our generation really start to get and take that top stage. And the fact of the matter is, honestly, a lot of us that grew up during those times that where these bands were really big, we were kids then. We're now adults. We now have the money to go to this shit, and we're willing to go to this shit. But if we're gonna keep seeing the same legacy bands like Chord, like Metallica, like the Misfits, constantly rolled out again and again and again, are we really gonna want to go there? Probably not. Now, where I do have to give some concession is to my friend Max on Metal Rock Reviews, because when we talked about this on Instagram live stream, he did bring up the point there. Why a lot of these bands are brought in is because they're the ones that bring in a lot of money. Like, there's a lot of people that want to see them both older and newer. So again, I totally understand that aspect. I totally get where he is coming from on that realm when it comes to the major headliners. Why I'm always seeing Chord in 2021 as a headliner on these. Why I'm seeing Metallica doing the 2 nights at each of the Danny Wimmer Presents festivals. But the problem comes in where the direct support, like the sub-headliners, the co-headliners, are still those legacy bands who are not really giving these other bands necessarily a chance. Which is where I'm going to give Incarceration a little bit of a pass on this one, because we're having bands like A Day to Remember who were most prominent in 2009, 2010, and then Hailstorm, whose first album came out in 2009. We're giving them the co-headlining spots, so we're starting to see a little bit more of that happen. So a good example of this is RockFest in 2021, when Danzig was the co-headliner on the final night with Chord as the headliner. This is where the problem really comes in, where this is no disrespect to Danzig or what he has done over his career in music, along with the influence that he has had. Where the problem comes in is, at RockFest, Danzig was the one that was struggling just to get any sort of sales really going. When it came to the pit passes, Danzig was the only one that did not sell out of every single person that was playing on the headline stage, the only one to not sell out. The other problem with it too was, we didn't want to see Danzig. No one really wanted to see Danzig. It didn't hurt that the Bucks were playing in Game 5 of the NBA Finals against the Suns. We're tied at 2, and we were in Wisconsin. So this made a lot of sense where people wanted to watch the game instead of it. However, had they brought out a band like A Day to Remember or Bring Me the Horizon, a band that was really gaining the prominence, the late 2000s, a lot of the people that were there, yeah, they would have wanted to watch the Bucks game, but we would have foregone the first 2.5 quarters of the game to go and watch one of these bands. The crowd would have been a much more electric, but just kind of dragging Danzig out there once again, dragging an older legacy band out there. Again, it's just getting tiresome to the point where, why would I want to go see him? Hell, Chevelle played before Danzig, and the crowd was even bigger for Chevelle. And Chevelle's most prominent years, again, the entire 2000s. So how do we fix this? And how do we fix this? The first thing is Rock and Metal Elitists, quit your bitching. Yes, I understand that you have different fandoms. I understand that you have different likes in what you like. We're all entitled to those opinions. But if you keep bitching about anything that's new that comes around, like Grandpa Simpson yelling at a cloud or yelling that Matlock isn't on, then you're going to end up seeing like this old crazy guys, and no one's going to want to associate with you, and no one's going to want to check out anything that you guys have to say, and there's going to be a lot of division from the newer stuff as well. A lot like what's going on with BabyMetal. So with a lot of that unwanted and unwarranted and kind of vilified response to a lot of these things just because things aren't the way they used to be, yeah, music constantly changes. There's so many different influences that come in over time. So let's just, you have what you like, we have what we like. Let's just respect each other on it, but let's not go so forceful to create this tension and create this division so that new people coming in want to turn around and go the other way. But I also have to point out the BabyMetal fans and a lot of bands that have this sort of massive and super duper strong following with certain people. And I did videos similar to when I figured out BabyMetal and Dance Gavin Dance with, when people like these bands, they really like them and are willing to go to defend them to the ends of the earth, and I totally understand that. But when people are giving negative opinions about the band or expressing what they don't like about it, and seeing the responses, especially on those announcements where people were attacking everybody that was going against BabyMetal, and there's a lot of venomous villainization going back and forth, this just again creates a negative space and negative energy to where no one's really going to want to come in no matter what. It's just, we need to do something in order to understand that everyone has different opinions, everyone likes different kinds of music, but let's welcome the fact that everyone likes different kinds of music. That might be the best thing we can do. Another thing too is if you're one of those rock and metal elitists and you don't like what's going on right now, you don't like some of the newer stuff that's popular, that's okay, that's fine. But you want to find something new? Go out, do the work, put in the search. There are plenty of places that are showing many different younger bands, upcoming bands that are having so many different styles of sounds that you might absolutely like. You never know what you might find, so give it time. Go check out a local show. You go to a festival, go check out a couple of different bands that you don't necessarily know. Follow us at MSOT Rocks. Check out some of the Chord Progression podcast episodes because we got bands from all different kinds of genres that are upcoming, emerging that you might like. It doesn't have to be us, but you can go check out so many of these other bands in so many of these other places. Just put in the time, put in the work like you did when you first found out about your favorite bands like Metallica, like Chord, like Slipknot. Put in the work. I also was kind of complaining about the festivals, but there are two festivals I think that are doing it absolutely right, and it's Blue Ridge and Rebel Rock. Taking a look at Blue Ridge, you're getting a healthy dose of so many different bands from so many different eras in time. Yes, they have a couple of legacy bands that are like Rob Zombie, Limp Bizkit, because Limp Bizkit was a little bit, more than 20 years, I'd say. And you see Megadeth on there as well. But you're seeing some more bands that were prominent in the 2000s, like Rise Against, Five Finger Death Punch, Papa Roach. You're also seeing bands that are more prominent in the 2010s headlinings, like Hailstorm, A Day to Remember, Ghost Inside, and Falling in Reverse. And this just keeps adding on to it. But when I take a look at Rebel Rock, I think Rebel Rock does it right as well because they're giving you different styles and different flavors of both old and new. One night they got MGK and Limp Bizkit headlining. Take a look at those two. You both got a little bit of a hip-hop realm in there, but how they're going in pop culture, that might be one of the biggest nights. You go to Saturday, you get Five Finger Death Punch and Papa Roach. Again, you get more of that 2000s flair to it, more of the butt rock 2000s flair. Then you go to Sunday, you get the Used and Rise Against, and you get more of that alternative flair on that punk rock flair in there as well from the 2000s. You're bringing a lot more people from the more, current generation that really like music in terms of the people that from, like, I'd say the millennial generation, like let's just say like 24 to 40 at this point. So you're bringing a lot of these people that are finally able to have money to go and check out these things, and they're going to be willing to go and do it, especially in 2021 now that concerts and festivals have returned. So I'm not saying necessarily don't go with some of those legacy bands. I do understand the legacy bands bring in money, but maybe give us a healthy mix of headliners and co-headliners, because not gonna lie, you give that healthy mix, like if we had Chord and then all of a sudden like A Day to Remember performing at RockFest, yeah, not many people would have been at that Bucks game or watching that Bucks game in the parking lot or the campsites like we were. Alright, so that's going to be it for me today, guys. So remember, rock and metal elitists, if I have any advice to you, is yes, you're entitled to your opinion. People that are super duper big fans of groups they really like BabyMetal, Dance Gavin Dance, yes, I understand you like, but remember what The Rock says.
And I quote, you know your damn role and shut your damn mouth.
Well, thank you guys for watching the video. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Put your comments in the comment section below what you think of the video. If I got something right, if you have different opinions, I'd love to hear what you have to say. And that's it for me. It's Kevin from the MSOD Rocks YouTube channel and the Chord Progression podcast. Flipping it. Wow, I completely missed on that one. So see ya.